Jack, Kate, Hurley, Sawyer, good, evil, volcano, cough, volcano. We're talking about the original ending for one of the most esoteric shows ever, Lost. I'm Sasha Pearl Raver, and this is Screen Junkies News. The original ending to Lost left some people unhappy, but apparently it was not the ending that the show's creators Carlton Cuse and Damon Lindelof had envisioned. Speaking with Entertainment Weekly about their series, they admitted they initially planned to use the volcano on the island as a set piece for their finale with, quote, a big fight between the forces of good and the forces of evil, which ended up in the series manifesting as Jack and the Man in Black in the midst of magma. Magma spewing everywhere. But alas, ABC said, quote, we love you guys, but we can't let you bankrupt the network. Well, here with me to talk about whether this is a better ending or a worse one is Danielle Radford. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
So before we started, you was talking to Snack.
I loved Lost. I think it's a great show. I understand why people had problems like with the ending. But for me, I think when I hear that they are talking about how there's a new, there's an original ending and this wasn't the ending they planned, most people were thinking, oh, so you mean you weren't going to do all that sideways universe stuff? Not just that you were going to change that ending battle, like the set piece for it from, being in the cave of light with the LED light in the pool to being like a huge volcano fight. And so I don't know. It's hard for me to know if that would have really made a big difference. Because on the one hand, one of the things that people loved and lost their minds over, and I did too, was just that moment where there was that epic Jack punch. And so if you got a battle that's a bunch of little moments like that, and there's a ton of just lava everywhere, that could have been really cool and maybe could have changed the mind of some people who weren't necessarily so happy with the kind of purgatory stuff, just because then you'd have that big battle-y set piece.
So I loved Lost. I had to have my tonsils removed, and I changed the date of my tonsillectomy because I was like, yo, you can't do it on Friday because I need to see Lost on Sunday. You can take them out on Monday. Because you remember they showed it on Sunday, which was really weird?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I didn't remember the crazy Jack Superman punch until you showed it to me, because when I think about the finale of Lost, I think about everybody in the church, and I think about everybody like being together, and I think about the moment of Jack laying down in a forest with the puppy and closing his eyes as the plane flies over, and then you get all the feels. So that's what I remember. I don't know that this would have changed my opinion of the finale of the show.
I don't think it would have, unless it would have been one of those things where there was so much spectacle that it would have distracted people from the people who didn't like it.
Right.
And would have been like, well, I didn't necessarily like how the entire series came to an end, but man, I sure do love those dudes fighting on a volcano.
That fight sequence was crazy.
Right.
But when we talk about like Magnus spewing everywhere and a volcano fight, I start thinking about Revenge of the Sith.
Right. Yep, for sure. And maybe that's part of the reason why they were like, we don't want to be too Sithy. I don't know. Because again, just thinking of that like beautiful, beautiful punch where he like punches.
Well, and also we should, in case you forgot the way I did until Danielle reminded me. So you've got the Man in Black who is now in the body of Locke, and you've got Jack, and they're on like two sides of like a seaside sort of lava, like it's like a hardened lava flow, very Hawaiian. And Jack starts running toward Locke, and then they sort of, like you said, he Superman punches and
like all the way down
and breaks his back again and kills him. Essentially.
And it's like there's like rain pouring down.
But it's really bright. It's really sunny with the rain.
Well, that's how it rains in Hawaii. It's really sunny and then it rains.
It's true.
And so that feels, we're talking about this, maybe the volcano would have felt more Lord of the Sithy, whereas this feels maybe more Lord of the Ringsy with kind of that like beautiful mountainside and that just like huge punch. But you also wonder if would they have kept it to just being Locke as the Man in Black and Jack, or would they've been like, no, forces of good and evil, we're going to get some other people in here.
So I still feel like because there have been so many rumors throughout the years as to what the show's original ending was supposed to be. I've heard rumors that the island was going to be a spaceship, and the spaceship was going to take off, and that's what the hatch was. And then the Kingdom Skull came, the
Indiana Jones.
Yeah. And then that happened, and they were like, no, we can't do that. And then now we're hearing that they were supposed to have this like giant battle on top of a volcano. And a lot of this stuff sounds to me like what you say in a pitch meeting, where you're like, and then there's going to be a battle, but there's going to be lava. And then there's going to be an island, but it's actually a spaceship. And just to like sell a show. But I don't know that that was ever actually the intention.
Right.
Because when I think about Lost, I still think about the characters, and I think about the heart, and I think about Not Penny's boat. And I don't need a giant battle with lava. What, like, for you were thinking about the ending and you started cracking up.
I was, and let's be fair, the reason I started cracking up is because it's like, when you're watching it and you get those emotions, and especially for me, like the music hits, and it's framed so beautifully, and you do get all those feels, but just point by point saying the ending out loud, it's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous. Like they all meet up in a chair, and then the bright light comes, and Jack gets stabbed and he's on the beach and he closes his eyes, and then he's like super dead. It's like the plane goes off, and then in the other universe they're all like reunited and they're all going off into the afterlife. Again, once you're in it and you're watching it, and the music hits, and you see all of these people that you loved throughout the series, a lot of whom had died like right before that ending. It's like, oh my friends, and I get to see them move on to their next journey. But saying it out loud, kind of ridiculous.
Sure, but even as you're talking about it, I'm getting the feels. I'm like, oh man, that was so special, and it was so sweet. I loved seeing them be reunited, because I really do feel like that show was about the character and the journeys of the characters, and I don't need Magma for that.
See, and I feel like for a lot of other people, it was very much about like the mysteries. Like, you're setting these mysteries up, and I want these mysteries to be done. And because they didn't feel like the mysteries were solved to their satisfaction, I think that's also another, I watch a lot of wrestling. We've talked about that before. There's something in wrestling called fantasy booking, where you talk about all of the different ways that you would book these different feuds and how you would like to see them go, or how a current feud would go. And I feel like Lost got fantasy booked because everyone was like coming up with their own fan theories. And if the ending didn't fit what you thought your favorite theory was, or what you came up with, or the conclusions you came up with, maybe it was just never going to make anybody happy.
That is so true, girl. So true. I mean, but isn't that also part of the fun?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, speculating about Lost was one of my favorite weekly events. And yeah, sometimes I think, you know what? We're just a bunch of brats. Maybe the mystery can just be the mystery, and we don't need to solve the mystery. You're not Nancy Drew. You're not Scooby-Doo.
You ain't Veronica Mars.
Let a mystery be a mystery, right? Or did you need hot smoking Magnum with your Magnum? That's a different Hawaiian show. That's a Magnum PI show. I meant
also would have been better on a volcano.
That I would see. That's something I need for a finale. But for Lost, did we need a volcano showdown, or are you happy with the way that it ended? Let us know in the comments below. You can tweet us at SJ News. Make sure to like and subscribe. Of course, you can always click here for more Screen Junkies news. And you all, everybody!